All right, guys, back to work. Another great day comes to an end. Hope you guys made some money out there, but it's back to work tonight. We get end of the month coming tomorrow. We got some big news tomorrow morning. Markets are grinding higher, and I'll tell you, looking at the charts tonight, there are three important clues that are tipping us off to where the best trades are coming tomorrow. I'm going to talk about those three important clues, why they're important, but most importantly in the video tonight, I'll talk about my favorite trades for tomorrow. That way you guys have a game plan to make some money before the holiday weekend. Now, before we jump in and get the party going tonight, we're going to cover all the details in the video. Before we start though, make sure you subscribe to our channel. That way you don't miss tomorrow night's video. And if you enjoy these videos tonight, do me a favor as always. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like button for me. Give me a shout out, give me a holler down in the comment section below. Either way, thank you so much for tuning in, supporting the channel. But enough of the intro, Joe. Let's get ready for Thursday, end of the month, almost the end of the summertime season. And we got some great trades we're tracking for what might be a very good day tomorrow in our trade room. Starting off tonight here on the 60-minute charts. I use the 60-minute chart to help me plan my trades for the following day. Later on in the video tonight, we'll drill down to some tick charts. Tick charts are the best for entry timing. We'll talk about the perfect entry timing on the tick charts a bit later on in the video. What do these 60-minute charts tell us? Well, there are three things the hourly charts are telling us. First of all, we know we're bullish, right? We definitely know we're bullish right now. That's one thing. The second thing, though, very, very important, we're grinding higher, right? We're grinding higher right now. Anytime we see markets grind higher like that, we start looking left. And remember, we had that big move down earlier in the month of August. So right now, markets have potential to keep on grinding higher as those sellers who got short middle of the month of August, as they get squeezed and they're forced to take profit. That's one very big clue, and it'll be a big aspect for our game plan for tomorrow. The third clue, which is also very important, is, as we talked about in last night's video, we made a huge move up yesterday, right? Those big squeezes going higher. We know that buyers would love to buy the dips, would love to buy some nice deep pullbacks here for tomorrow. So that will certainly be part of the game plan for tomorrow as well. So a lot of opportunities right now for the buyers. I've definitely got some short trades, some counter trend reversals we'll talk about tonight as well. We're going to cover all the details. Oh, don't you worry. You guys have a roadmap to make some money tomorrow. Now, before we dive in, though, to those tick charts and get our hands dirty on the entry patterns for tomorrow, there's a couple things you want to be aware of. Big news tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern time, personal income number. No, it's not the jobless claims, although that will definitely be something on our radar tomorrow. That personal income number is an inflation report. That is the second of three big news events we have going to the end of the week here this week. Make sure you keep that on your radar. That will get us going tomorrow morning in our members trade room. And also, too, as I mentioned in last night's video, there'll be no newsletter video tomorrow night. We'll come back after the Labor Day holiday weekend, end of the summertime season. It's been a great month of August. It's been a great summertime season. If I don't see you guys tomorrow morning in the morning trade room, have a very, very happy and safe Labor Day weekend. Now, back to our charts, though, because the money is made on the charts, and we got some more money to make on Thursday into Friday. Now, let's go over my favorite trades here for tomorrow. We'll start off on the Emini and the SPY, and we'll drill down or finish up tonight on the Nasdaq and the QQQs. Now, as I mentioned in the introduction, we have a bull market that apparently wants to keep grinding higher. We assume they're grinding higher because all those bears, right, who shorted, they're getting squeezed out right now. And again, we know buyers are certainly waiting for their next shot, right, to buy a nice deep, maybe two-legged pullback that we talked about in last night's video. Let's drill down tight here now, down to the tick charts. This is a 7,000 tick chart. I like to use tick charts in my trade room. Tick charts make entries a whole lot easier. And by the way, this yellow line right there, that is the 21 EMA. We use that 21 EMA to find lots of winning trades every morning in our morning trade room. You guys are learning about that inside of our free trading classes. There are two real important clues right now on the tick chart, and when you combine those with the 60-minute time frames, they pretty much give us a good roadmap to make some money tomorrow. The first thing is a wedge, right? You'll notice right now, it's not the most pretty thing. It's the prettiest thing in the world, right? But it's definitely a wedging higher. Usually when markets grind higher, higher like that, usually wedges are going to show up here. Now, two things you want to think about when it comes to a wedge. First of all, where those two lines come together creates an area of resistance. We've got that 44 3/4 area overhead from the 60-minute time frame as well. So we know there's resistance waiting overhead, but more importantly though, whenever the wedge gets really narrow like this, it oftentimes leads to sharp corrections down around the swings around the edges of those trading ranges. So that would probably be the best kind of dream come true scenario for these buyers here tomorrow. That will certainly be a part of our game plan here on the video tonight. The second component is this trading range. Now you'll notice this is a bull market into a trading range. Now ranges, as you guys know, we talk a lot about ranges in our free trading classes. We love ranges in our trade room. There are two things you want to be aware of. Well, I guess three things. One is a range acts like a magnet. And there are two ways to trade it. One is a breakout pullback, right? A breakout pullback. And as we always talk about, there's money to make on the way up. There's money to make on the way down, and there's money to make right on the breakout pullback. Three different ways to trade a breakout pullback. That's one of the two ways ranges work. Another way ranges work is because we've got that big bull run that we saw yesterday, it would make perfect sense for a head fake, a pullback, and run back up. Because again, that range will act as a magnet. So plenty of ways to make money off a bullish range-bound market. So we have a lot to cover in this video here tonight. I'm going to start first by talking about if we go higher. We'll cover some buy setups, some short setups, and then later on in the video, I'm going to give you guys three, maybe four different ways to buy the pullback, help you time the perfect pullback entry for tomorrow as well. Now, let's start first here by talking about if we go higher, because again, I wouldn't normally be looking for a move going higher here, but because of that 60-minute chart grinding higher, and it's obvious these bears are getting squeezed out of this thing, we may keep on grinding into Labor Day for all I know. How do you trade it though? Well, as we go higher, I don't want to buy too high, and so like we always say, right, whenever we're trying to buy going higher, the name of the game is a trap setup or a trap pattern. In this case, it'll be called what's called a bear trap as we go higher. You guys are learning about these in the free trading course. Remember how these work, right? It's a strong move, a higher high in price, and a trap low below that low. Now, remember what I said earlier, when it comes to ranges, ranges love to break out, right, and then pull back for us as we go. Can I short that pullback? There definitely is a way to short this pullback. It's called a crown reversal pattern. In the free trading course, you guys are learning about two patterns, failures and traps. We're going to rope these two together into what we call a crown reversal. Now, this is a little bit more advanced pattern. It's also going against the trend. So what I usually do is on these types of counter trend trades, I'll go half size position, right? So full size or 3/4 size going with the trend, and then going against the trend, I'll oftentimes go half size, even quarter size of a normal position. Now, look at how this setup works. It's a lower low in price with a trap high, right? It's kind of the opposite of that pattern. Again, these rope together your failure patterns and your trap patterns that you guys are learning in the free trading course. Now, as we pull back, the market may dump, right? It may dump back down again with a head fake off that high because of that wedge vertex that I mentioned earlier. I'm going to talk about how to short this thing if it does dump off that high. I'm going to cover that here in a moment, so don't worry about that. What I want to make sure you know about right now though is I want to make sure you know how we buy that breakout pullback. Right? How do you buy that breakout pullback? You buy, remember, we're not a big fan of picking bottoms, right? And this could easily roll all the way back into that range, potentially for a pendulum swing all the way back down, right? We know that buyers are drooling over the opportunity to buy a deep pullback right now, and they may get that deep pullback tomorrow. What I'll do though is, if I want to buy right here, what you want to do is you want to use what I call a failure pattern. Let the sellers come in and get short off the moving average. Now think about this, right? We're doing this off the high of that trading range. And keep in mind, if this goes even higher, we'll probably ratchet it up like that, right? So really this whole area, that whole area right there, right? That's going to be a support area if we end up really blasting up, right? With that breakout into pullback. The bottom line is we're not trying to pick the bottom. We're going to trap those bears in. And remember, the easiest money you're ever going to make in trading is when you can use the stops of those sellers, those counter trend traders, use those stops as fuel to fuel that move going higher. We use stops as fuel with our failure setups in our trade room. And of course, you guys are learning this. Remember, I teach all of these patterns, right? I teach the traps, the crown reversals, right? And of course, the failure into pullback combos. It's part of the price action cycle in the free trading course, which reminds me, if you're one of the few folks who haven't taken that free class yet and learned all these entry tactics, what I'll do is I'll put a link up here for you in the upper right-hand corner. Grab that link, take that free trading course, because the strategy you'll learn in that short video series will teach you a simple trick that we use every morning in our members trade room to know exactly where the best winning trades are going to be that day. And most importantly, I'll teach you my 4 favorite entry patterns. That way you know how to time the perfect entry, traps, failures, pullback combinations. It's all covered in that free trading course. If you're not making the consistent money that you want right now, that'll give you a roadmap. That'll give you the roadmap you need to start making money. And also too, what I'll do is, if you can't grab that link that popped up there, I'll put a bunch of links down the description of the YouTube video. That way, if you can't grab that link up there, it'll all be in the description for you, just to make it easy for you on that. All right, guys. So now we know, right? Now we know how to grab the breakout trap. We know how to grab the crown reversal, right? And to buy the breakout pullback. Remember this sequence, right? Remember this sequence as we go up. Remember, strong move, shallow pullback, higher high, trap low, we go up, right? The buyers are way overbought at this point. They try once, they try twice, right? Now the buyers are roped into major resistance, use their stops as fuel to run back down again. And again, we're overall bullish, right? It was a very bull market. This may be the juicy pullback the buyers are waiting for. Again, we're not going to pick the bottom on this. We'll let those bears come in, get short, and use those stops to trigger that squeeze back up to take out those highs. That's the sequence that you want to look for if we continue going higher. The only other variation of this, which is not as likely, would be a pop and grind. You know, for example, right, again, we talked about earlier, right, that 60-minute chart, how this could keep squeezing here for tomorrow. We saw one yesterday like this, right? If it was to pop up and begin to grind and grind and grind, it's Labor Day weekend, it's end of August. It could easily happen, right? Could easily happen. If it pops and grinds like that, just simply draw that trend line off the highs. Okay, off those highs like that, bring it down off that low, and then what do we always talk about? Look left, right? Yeah, traps, baby, right? Traps. Ideally, you want to get underneath any of those prior swings. This could be a trap pattern like I'm drawing here. It could be a failure pattern right below the moving average like I showed you right back here. It could be any of the entry patterns, right, we talk about in the free trading course. Now, remember, when it comes to these pop and grinds like this, what we want to do is the size of that breakout leg, right? The size of that pop leg, that's the measuring leg. Take the size of that leg and pin it at the low of that pullback, and that will give you an idea of where that target is. All right? Remember, the key to making more money is don't trade more often. Don't trade more markets, right? Don't trade more often. Get better at squeezing profit out of the trades that you take. And we talk a lot about how breakouts like to go 1, 2, 3, right? Where the first leg and the third leg are almost always symmetrical. Same idea here, right? First leg and then third leg. That'll help you squeeze out more profit, right, as we go higher. All right, guys. So got some very easy game plan there going higher. A lot of that is kind of overlapping from things we've talked about already. Now, let's get down to business. The trade that I think everybody wants for tomorrow is that deep pullback, right? We all want that deep pullback. We've been waiting for it, right, for a day and a half now. We want that deep pullback. I definitely have potential to short off the high. And again, there are a number of different ways I can buy this depending on how strong that pullback is. Let's keep going here now over to the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq is very similar to the S&P, right? There are three key takeaways on the 60-minute. We're bullish. We definitely know that is our overall direction right now. We're grinding higher, right, which may continue here today, tomorrow into Friday, because again, that big move down that we saw early to mid-August as those bears start coming to grips with this reversal here. And of course, the third thing on everyone's radar, right, is the fact that we had that big move up. And so we definitely would love to get a deep pullback. So let's talk about how do we make money on that deep pullback, right? Again, on the NASDAQ, everything I talked about previously can pretty much be applied here on the NQ as well, right? It's a bull market up right now. It's wedging higher. Again, if this thing rips and runs higher, trap patterns, crown reversal patterns, breakout pullbacks, pop and grinds, just like I talked about in the on the chart of the S&P. How do we short this? So one thing I would be keeping an eye out for right now is oftentimes when we have a wedge like this, oftentimes what happens is we'll get that strong pop up, but it will kind of snap right back like that. Like it'll head fake. Now, if they strong pop, if they shallow pull back and go higher here, right, that'll be your sign there to look for traps. But what you want to keep in mind is, right, we can definitely look for a crown reversal if these buyers fail. Now, remember that crown reversal? It wraps together the failure pattern along with the trap pattern. Right? How does it look again? Remember, as we go higher, let's see if these buyers struggle, right? Let's see if these buyers can't keep it going higher. If they try once to go higher, if they try twice to go higher, I can grab that trap and look for that short. There's one right here, actually. We saw one early this afternoon, right? We go up, the buyers try once, the buyers try twice, little tiny trap high above that high, right? That is a crown reversal, right? Take a 1-to-1 for your first target, move that stop down a point of entry. You guys know this. We talk about trade management inside of the free trading course. So now remember, when I'm going against the trend like that, I tend to go smaller size, right? Half size, even quarter size, because the good news about a counter trend trade is that you don't need a very big position on it, because if you're right, it's going to dump. Right? You don't need a full-size position on these to make some pretty good money on a crown reversal off the high. Now, I would also imagine too, if we get up and these buyers get trapped, right? If they get trapped up there with that crown reversal and we start to dump and start running down, what usually happens is we usually get one of these grinders. It's basically the rug pull, right? The rug gets pulled out from underneath the buyers, and at this point now we're anticipating that rotation back down and to get that deep pullback that we're looking for. The way that you sell as you're going lower, now remember, this is where you have to remember what the 60-minute time frame is. We're not a bear market, we're a bull market. So as we go lower, who do you think's waiting down here? Buyers, right? On top of that, anyone who sold short off the crown reversal, they're taking big chunks of profit at these prior swings as well. So what would you say is my big concern as we go lower? What's the one thing I've got to be careful with? I don't want to sell low. How do you avoid selling low? You sell traps, right? Traps are always going to be the entry pattern we're looking for to avoid selling low, right? So we're going to sell traps as it rotates lower. Now, if you guys are with me in the trade room, or if you're taking my free trading classes, you know I like to go out and draw trend lines off those lows like that, and then bring them up around the high. And I like to look for that kind of what I call the first test off the high of that channel. And again, I love traps. I think traps are the best option as we go lower. I don't want to sell as it goes lower. That's one thing I don't want to do, right? You don't want to sell as it goes lower because you'll walk right into a bear trap, right? Or yeah, you know what I mean? You'll walk right into a trap there because again, it's not a bear market. It's a bull market. So as we go lower, we have to expect there's going to be buyers, right, waiting there. And by the way, I'm going to talk about how to buy these pullbacks here in a moment, all right? So again, it's that crown reversal, that head fake off the top. Remember, hold on 1 second here. Remember, there's a difference here, right? Pop up, pull back, higher high, bear trap, okay? What's the difference here? The higher high, right? The higher high, right? Pop up, higher high, bear trap, pop up, low, right? Lower low, then higher low, right? Then see how it works, right? Different pattern, right? Make sure you know the difference between these. Okay, one of them pops up and doesn't keep going higher. One of them pops up, pulls back once, twice, trap, and go. The other one pops up and keeps going, right? Higher high, that trap low. There's always some confusion between those two, right? The key, though, is look for that higher high. That'll tell you where you'll get that trap continuation. Okay, so now we know how to short this thing off the high. We'll see if we get it. Next up here, how do we buy, right? How do we buy? Now, if we saw one thing today, what do we see? The minute the thing pulled back, what happened? Everybody was buying into it. Now, look at this pattern right here. Okay, look at that pattern right there. Okay, this is one of my favorite entries. It's a V bottom, right? It's a V bottom basically. So there are two ways to buy the pullback, right? There's two ways to buy the pullback here. Okay, one is a shallow, we call a shallow pullback trap like this one. Okay, look at this pattern right there, right? That's the pattern right there. Okay, here's what it does. Okay, we run lower. Ideally, I'm going to buy down here, right? That was that low I showed you on the 60-minute chart. But hello, right? We're so bullish right now, we may not get that far. Now, what's the problem though, right? If all I get is a shallow pullback, the problem is I don't want to buy too high. So if all we get is that V bottom on this, I want to try to get in as low as I possibly can with that bear trap. Look at how this pattern worked. Okay, V bottom off that low, bears try once, they go higher, they try twice, and everybody's waiting to gobble up that trap low. Okay, that's one very important part of the game plan tomorrow. So if all we get is a shallow pullback, and the bears are trying, and they're trying, right? They're trying to force this thing going lower, but again, we're such a bull market. We want to buy as low as we can, right? Because we've had a big move up the last couple of days, right? The last 24 hours ago, we had a big move up on Tuesday. So you gotta be careful with buying too high right now. The way you buy the way you avoid buying high and getting trapped is you wait for the bears to try, suck them in there, right? And again, the easiest money you're gonna make in trading is when you're long going with the overall trend and the bears get stopped out, right? These are one of those scenarios where everybody is a buyer, right? Anyone who sold short, taking profit, they're buying. The buyers are buying low, they're buying low. And of course, the sellers are buying because they're getting stopped out, right? That, of course, means everyone is a buyer. And of course, target now would be up around that wedge vertex, right? Where those two lines come together, all right? Now, the deeper pullback. The deeper pullback is exactly what everybody wants, right? The deeper pullback is what everybody is waiting for here for tomorrow. But what's the challenge, though, with a deep pullback? With a deep pullback, anytime we see a really big move, anytime we see a strong move in one direction, we have to anticipate with all that momentum coming off the high, they're going to try to retest that low. And in my video classes, we talk about what's called the 2-try rule. And so on a really deep pullbacks are great because you can take a small amount of risk for a big amount of reward, but with that comes a cost. You'll hear me talk about this all the time. I'll always say there's no free lunch in trading. There's no free lunch, okay? You're either battling momentum or you're battling risk reward. Make sense? Right? You're either like right here, right? If I can buy this deep pullback, that is fantastic risk reward. It's great. It's small risk for a big reward, but there's a cost to it, right? The cost is momentum, all right? If I buy a shallow pullback, okay, momentum is not the problem anymore. It's the risk reward, right? Makes sense? That's why I said it's no free lunch. You're always balancing momentum and risk reward, right? If you've got no risk reward on it, like this example, you've got to buy as low as you can, right? Because you've got to offset that risk reward, right? It's a much different, think about it. I got time for this, right? Think about this, right? If I buy right here, if I buy right there, right? If I buy above that high on a regular failure pattern, my risk is here, my reward is right there. Right? Not too exciting. You're not going to get a lot of professionals to take that trade. But if I can get a bear trap on it, right? If I can get a bear trap below that low and get in down here now what's my risk reward? Now my risk is here, my reward is here. And see, now we're talking, right? See the difference there? It's a very small difference, but professionals are going to wait for those. Right? That's why they are professionals. They've learned to wait patiently for good risk-reward trades when they're momentum. Now, again, to kind of finish my thought here, if we end up all the way down, right? Great risk reward here, right? Perfect. Small risk, big reward. But again, the bill, right? The fee that you pay for that risk reward is momentum. Remember, anytime we see strong moves like this, we have to expect the bears to come in and try to retest that low. Let them try a couple times. We need their stops, right? We need their pain. We need those buyers to come in, that squeeze to happen to fuel this move going higher. These will oftentimes be two small attempts for the bears, right? Two small attempts for the bears, and then squeeze right back up. Now, as we go higher, right? If we can get that rotation now going higher, there's a big bullseye right back at that high or wherever the high of day is at that point. Now, what's the problem now? I don't want to buy high. I want to buy low. How do you buy low as it rotates higher? You look for traps. Okay, you will soon learn to love traps as much as I do. We use a lot of these in our trade room. This is the scenario, right? This is the scenario. So deep pullback, great small risk, right? Great small risk, monster reward on that trade, right? Beautiful risk reward. But again, you pay the price with momentum. So we're not picking the bottom, right? We're not picking bottoms. If there's one thing we've learned the last few weeks, especially the month of August, guys, we don't pick tops and bottoms. We trap counter trend traders on the wrong side, and we use their stops to fuel that run going higher. This would be a 2-try failure. It's a variation of the failure pattern we teach in the free trading course. So that 2-try failure, right? And then of course that trap as we go back up to retest the high. Now, let's say, for example, they do retest that low. Let's say they do make a strong run down and they roll over and they do retest the low. Do it again. Do it again. In fact, this one's even better. Okay, this is even better. If they retest that low now think about it. Professionals are selling high. Where are they taking their profit? If you sold that pullback, where would be a big chunk of profit coming off? At the low, most likely. So while the bears who got in on the pullback, while they're getting out, now what happens? Who would sell down here? Rookies, right? Now the rookies come in. Da-da-da, right? Rookies come in. They're chasing after it. I know this because I did this all the time when I was a new trader. Small accounts, tight stops. They can't defend themselves. Oftentimes, when I was a rookie, if I got stopped out, I would flip my position. Right, I would cover my short, squeeze out of my short, stop myself out, and flip it into a long trade. Again, same basic idea here. This is the game plan. Once again, all we're doing now is now incorporating a double bottom, right? A double bottom. Okay. So again, two tries because again, we in this scenario it's a big move down. It'll feel very. This is a 4,000 tick chart, right? We'll be in a 1,000 tick chart tomorrow in the trade room. This will feel very bearish on a 1,000 tick chart. All right, so failure into that trap. And as you guys know, I like to go out and draw trend lines off the highs, bring it down off that low, and look for that first test off of that low. All right, guys. One other variation again would be this one right here. Okay, so if it rolls lower and just bounces right back off, what's the goal now? Don't chase it, right? Try to buy as low as you can, right? You will see this pattern a lot if you start looking for it, right? You'll see it a lot, okay? Especially in a big bull market that we're seeing right now. All right, guys? Well, I've given you guys some good variations to look for tomorrow. I don't think anybody knows exactly what's going to happen tomorrow morning. We get some big news coming out at 8:30 Eastern Time. Remember, there's no money there's no money made in predicting, right? The money is made, the long-term success in trading is made by having a game plan for anything the market throws at you. That way you're bulletproof. So tonight we put the game plan together. We know different scenarios. Now we wait and see what we get here for tomorrow. And I'm sure you know these markets, end of the month, end of the week, Labor Day weekend. They're going to throw us some curveballs, but that's all right though, because we'll be together, trading together tomorrow in our trade room, which reminds me, if you're looking for a place to come out and learn and trade along, we open up our trade room every morning, 8 o'clock Eastern Time for all the advanced members of the School of Trade community. You will love trading along with us in the morning trade room. It's a great place to learn this stuff with me. Make sure you're doing it right the first time, not making a bunch of mistakes and losing money. We have some fun together too in the morning trade room. If you got any questions, I'll put all the important links, the trade room links. I'll put the free classes down linked up the description as well. If you got any questions, if you need help, if you have any trouble getting access to our free classes, don't be a stranger. Megan and I are always here to help out, so don't be afraid to call or use live chat. If you need help or you got questions, you're only a phone call or a live chat away from getting some help. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the video tonight. If I don't see you tomorrow morning in the trade room, have a fantastic rest of your short holiday week. The game plan's ready tomorrow. We'll trade this stuff together. As always, be well, be nice to each other, be safe this weekend, and we'll see you guys back here on Tuesday next week after the Labor Day holiday. My name is Joseph, guys. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.